litt teit med Android hva det heter for noe, Car, eller var appen åpen for at den starter. Den klarer ikke å starte det uten at den har liksom
within which are three mithril rings. Now these rings, now remember, these are Academy rings, so they have two very simple powers. First of all, they function as a ring of spell storing, but the number of levels of spells that it stores is commensurate with the number of rings you have. You have to wear all the rings for it to work, okay? And because these are your rings, only you, these rings have been made for you, so only you can attune to them and use their power. In addition, the rings themselves can be used to perform a minor effect that is similar to prestidigitation or mage hand that basically identifies you clearly as Wrath of the Amethyst Academy. So you can all mages of the Academy can invoke their rings when they need to basically invoke so by doing so, this proves that you're a member of the Academy in good standing, and one of the perks of it is that no noble can deny you room and board if you invoke your rings. By the Edicts of Lumen, all nobility must grant room and board to any mage of the Academy who asks for it. So by showing your rings, you can do this.
Thank you, River. I will keep your concerns noted. We've already experienced this as close as Tozfeld, or just outside of it. We met some Illyrians, and we were wise to conceal not only our affiliation with the Academy, but our mission. They are on a quest.
Indeed. We will speak of this shortly, but before I move to other matters, Wilhelm and Rudy, we believe it is befitting to see that a weapon or suit of armor is made for each of you from the Academy's forges. What would you may request a weapon of your choosing, and we will see to it that something is made that befits your style. What would you like?
I just spent money on my new armor, and I did find this. I actually pulled out Twilight Sword. I did find this sword in yet another talking point that we need to discuss, River, and that was an ancient elven ruin, which we should discuss further at some point. But
can I get your choices, though? I just need to know what you before we go into.
Well, I'm trying to decide. Like, I just got a magic sword and a new set of armor. So I guess I'll take a better armor?
Not a crossbow.
Or, I don't know. I'm used to D&D and not being nice to crossbows.
River goes, what's that? And it's this grumpy old crossbow.
Yes, I suppose a new crossbow would suffice. I do have a special request. This is a crossbow that my father designed that requires less loading. It has bolts at the ready. So if you could perhaps work that into it.
I'm sure we can come up with a design.
Like,
I kind of take out both my battle axes and I say, make something fancy out of these. That would be mighty fine. I got some like on my new armor. It's fancy elven armor, so I'm good to go. But I got some basic weapons here.
Very well. Shall see to it that a finely crafted axe is made for you. It will be some time before these are ready. They will be made to order for both of you.
Thank you, kindly.
In the meantime, should you require anything else, there is one other representative of the Academy is here. The Tower of Storms, the lighthouse in the bay, is the abode of Sundar Stormking. He is an ornery sort, but I have put in good will with him, and
was in Shaftburg. We went into the swamp. Wrath, perhaps you would be better at explaining this, but there seems to be a connection between the elven ruins and delirium causing a thinning. It was thin. Wrath, perhaps you can elaborate. I'm no good at this. I don't understand the jargon.
Almost did not exist in this place, like a crossing. There was a gateway that was damaged. It was our only chance to prevent this creature from returning. I'm sure there are others like it in these elven rings.
This is not the first I've heard of these things. For in Drakenheim itself, there were rifts appearing. Rifts to the abyss and hell itself. These were much worse, mind you, and creatures were already passing through them. And a small group, backed by the Academy, managed to keep them closed. But this does not bode well. It may be worth investigating this Starwatch lighthouse at some point. But there are other problems around Dransman that might be of equally pressing concern. Dransman is built where the Dran River empties into Ash Bay. The Dran River flows through Drakenheim. Hundreds, thousands of miles, but it's a wide river. And if anything could get far out from Drakenheim, the river would be the way. And Dransman is where it would end up. There's more to it than this. Dransman is a major trade hub. Merchants flock here not just from across Western, but from Illyria, Caspia, the whole continent, and even from continents beyond. Places where the Academy does not have the privileges nor the influence that it does here on the continent. Of late, there is one commodity that eclipses all others in value and advancement. I'll give you one guess what it is.
Well, it's going to. It's delirium, right, guys?
Delirium, right? It's yep. Okay.
Okay.
We already heard
First guess.
from what's her name? The Duke's daughter. That they're already know what's coming from the University.
Yes.
I mean, also importantly, and I would like you, River, to be open with us. It's going to take honesty on all sides for us to get to the bottom of these mysteries, but it seems that the indication is that the Academy has been buying delirium from Dransman as well.
Yes, of course we have. This is that's no secret at all. But there's a few things to understand. Even though we have a foothold in Drakenheim, the city itself is still valuable. It's far too dangerous for us to extract the quantities of Drakenheim that our industry demands. Thus, more has still been appearing in the markets here in Dransman, and I have been a representative with House Von Baden and its merchants and traders to purchase as we have from the Academy. The other reality is that although we have reclaimed the tower of Drakenheim, it will be months, if not years, before the tower is repaired and is actually equipped with the facilities for us to engage in industry. Thus, we have to ship the delirium out of the city anyways. So it is convenient for us to procure it here. Of late, we have been being outbid.
By who?
That's what I want to know.
This was our concern. The illegal trade seems to go above and beyond the Academy's acquisition. We have heard and seen those just, everyday traders carrying the delirium almost openly. It was very concerning.
Indeed. You see, there are a fair number of hedge wizards dwelling in Dransmund as well. Wizards who are trained by the Academy but not in good standing with the guild. They don't have access to the privileges that members like Wrath and I do, which means that they have to procure delirium for their work independently. Most of them waste it, but I have no doubt that some of them are buying it. But they wouldn't have the capital to outbid the Academy.
I suppose, and Rudy, you can back me up on this, but I suppose if we are to listen to Wrath, who is our new friend here, that it is better, I guess, that the delirium falls into the hands of science and progression rather than what we've seen it being used for, just by emerging wildly in the area. So I suppose you buying the delirium, it is kind of interesting that the delirium flows from Drakenheim down the river here, and you came from Drakenheim to buy it back.
Well, from what I understand, at least from talking with Duke von Baden, the delirium, this is the thing. There's no doubt that delirium is flowing down. But here's the thing. Delirium is dense. Delirium is heavy. And I could believe that slivers and fragments of it would be carried down the river. It seems plausible. But large crystals and geodes, massive clusters. Well, no one has sold a massive cluster in the market here. Large crystals and geodes have been bought and sold by me, personally, from Von Baden's traders. The only way for something like that to get here is if someone brought it to sell it.
But it's not the Academy. Interesting.
The problem that I'm having is that Von Baden, daughter, she told us that it was just the Academy buying it, and I'm now mighty curious about why she didn't tell us about these new buyers that I feel like she would have known about.
It's possible that she does not. She may not be fully aware of all of her brother's business, and in fact, to be perfectly frank, the Von Badens are only one of many possible people that are buying and selling it. There are certainly others dealing in it and trading in it that have nothing to do with me. And in fact, I have tried myself to make inroads and even tried to use some of my own magic to discern who it might be. But they have protections. This means that they are getting help by someone with magic of their own. This means someone does not want the Academy to know who is buying.
Well, that doesn't bode very well for me.
It doesn't bode very well for them either. Because we're going to find out who is acquiring large quantities of delirium, what their purpose is, and we will reacquire it for the Academy so it can be put in its rightful place.
It's a good thing Von Baden owes us a favor. We get some more information.
Another magical part is outbidding the Academy. This calls for investigation.
It's entirely possible. After all, the Amethyst Academy is not the only
Interesting. But any as powerful as the Academy? I feel like the Academy.
Oh no, none nearly as powerful as the Amethyst Academy. Certainly not. Preposterous. No.
Why we're laughing?
Stop that.
One other quick concern. On our way in here, something that you may not know about, I've never seen anything like this. There was a woman of the supposed falling fire who had jammed a piece of delirium into her chest. Now, I'm sure that beats anything you've seen in Drakenheim, but people are jamming delirium into their chest and seem to be saying that they're okay and that it's a new path.
You're doing it on purpose.
Someone else might have done it for her.
Somebody may have jammed the delirium into her chest.
But it's there now.
She seemed mighty okay with it. She seemed mighty fine with having
She
it
might
in
have
her
fallen on
chest.
it and then just never removed it.
We believe
I'm
Not sure how it ended up there.
this is what happens to those who finish their pilgrimage of the falling fire.
Oh, so that's a thing that people are doing.
Yes, they
Ridiculous.
travel to Drakenheim, and they return with the delirium in their chests. Not many, mind you, but some. And we have been very interested in finding out exactly what the manner of this work is. And it could very well be the followers of the falling fire have converted many to their cause. And they have resources. They have wealth. They have money. There are some amongst the nobility that have taken up with them, and many amongst the common folk. It could very well be that the falling fire are the ones trying to acquire the delirium for that very purpose.
Seems mystery is afoot.
Indeed.
Some people are so weird, and I'm petting Bruce.
And we all
Yes,
turn and
Bruce,
look
they
at
are
you.
so weird.
Now, there was one more thing that came to mind is when we met the Illyrians. They were telling us their feelings around delirium and what it meant for them. Do you think there's any way that they would buy it just to destroy it?
Seems awfully wasteful, but they are crazy zealots.
Just to keep in mind, I guess.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put rational thought. I wouldn't necessarily associate rational thought with the Paladins of the Silver Order. And, I mean, as short-tempered as they are, I don't necessarily think that they're fools, but they've done more foolish things in the past.
How close of an eye do you think that we should be keeping on the Illyrians? I assume you're aware of their march towards Drakenheim and their goals.
They'll be here, certainly, and I would be wary of them, as they do. They might be looking for the very same things we are.
So, a mysterious lighthouse, possibly an elven ruin, and the mystery and transmission of who is outbidding the Amethyst Academy. Well, at least there's no monsters or mayhem.
Oh, about that. There is.
What?
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Nuts.
If all of this weren't enough, it is a well-known fact that now the waters of the Draenor are contaminated and not to drink them. And nevertheless, people do. They get sick. But in Draensman, something stranger is happening. People are falling ill, getting sick. And, well, you'll see it. It happens almost every day. Someone walks out to the pier, screaming, tears their clothes off, and throws themselves into the waves and drowns.
Screaming, just screaming, or screaming something specific?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw Wrath do that in the caves that we were in, but...
That is a ritual.
They do. They leap off the pier and they swim until ostensibly their deaths. Sometimes a few of them have recovered, only to die of some sickness, usually within a day. Some people have tried to stop them, that is. It's some sickness that has been spreading, at least from drinking the water. And, if that weren't enough, there have been some grisly killings in the streets as well. People ripped to shreds. I do not think it is people ripping other people to shreds in the streets.
Now, we've seen some strange things in Schaffberg of folks getting their minds taken over and doing some things that they normally wouldn't do, but are there any indications about them making their way towards jumping off, or does it just come out of nowhere?
It doesn't come out of nowhere. Usually a few days earlier they start showing signs of sickness. They begin breaking out in sweat and drinking inordinate quantities of water, also from the river.
Are we concerned at all that it could be the same sort of monster as in Schaffberg? Is that a concern? Should we be,
Sounds like a different sickness to me. Sounds like, especially if they're going after contaminated water, that didn't have any effect. It was getting them to that monster that really turned their minds in Schaffberg, right?
So nobody hooked up to weird devices or no brains missing? No?
The people that throw themselves off the pier, they swim, and boats have gone out to try to find them. And once in a while they have been found, swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming. Others, I suppose, drown. But those that have been recovered, they die of some choking sickness within a day. It's like they can't breathe.
Choking sickness. Interesting. And the people being attacked in the streets and ripped apart, do they show, or is it known if they show any signs before this happens, or is it just regular folk that this has happened to?
I leave that to you. The city watch is completely useless in this respect, predictably so. But I do have some leads that you may want to investigate.
Very well.
Ready.
It sounds like this is the most pressing matter. The outbidding of the Delirium and the Elven Ruin do not necessarily involve people getting ripped to shreds in the streets. So if we suspect it could be linked to Delirium, then I would say this should be our first course of action. Rudy, as sheriff, your thoughts?
Well, of course, people are always our number one concern. That's what got us into this. It's protecting the people, and I think regardless if they're from our hometown or from Dransmond, it's a priority to look, and it may lead us in the direction of the Delirium as well, potentially even to the lighthouse. Who knows how this is all connected? But it can't be a coincidence that Delirium is coming in and out of here, and these people are acting out of their minds.
It's well known that it's been happening usually every 2 or 3 days. Someone walks to the edge of the pier and throws themselves off. So, I would recommend if you head down to the piers, it may only take you a few days before you find a new lead that you might be able to trace back. But there was another killing last night in the streets. From what I understand, the dockmaster's assistant, his boy, found it first. You may want to go talk to the dockmaster and see if you can find out where this was and if it's been cleaned up yet.
Pier seems to be our first one. Now, Wrath. I know this is going to sound mighty crazy, but maybe I'm just falling in line with how we're thinking about this, but does Bruce say anything weird coming in this town? Any feelings, any thinness?
Are you asking me to speak with Bruce? I would love to. I absolutely love talking to Bruce. He's my favorite.
Hope I'm
so
starting
glad,
to speak your language now.
Rudy, that you've kind of coming around and embracing Wilhelm. Take some notes. Bruce. And
What is it?
have you sensed anything like we felt
There are
in the Elven Ruins? That old temple buried deep below the earth.
There's a feeling. I don't like water. First of all, you should know that.
I do know that, and I will keep you far away from it.
But there are many, many, many fish and lots of rats in the sea. And I think that they're delicious, and I want them to eat.
Your hunger is insatiable. On our journey to discover how everyone is being ripped to shreds and drowning, I will feed you. It will be my top priority.
Wrath, I'm only catching one half of this conversation, and what I just gathered is we asked you to look for clues with your cat, and the assumption that I'm getting is that the cat has to be fed. I'm starting to think that Bruce might just be a pretty standard cat, and you just know when to feed it.
I will ignore your insubordination towards Bruce.
He'll give us the information if he senses it. If he doesn't sense anything now, that's fine. But make sure you keep that connection open just in case, because he was mighty helpful in the last place in discovering these thin spots.
Rudy, are you now, like, that's just Wrath. That's just Wrath coming up. He's magical. Like,
Rudy, it appears that the connection you have with your little one is in line with mine. I hope that your companion teaches you the ways of the cosmos.
Is it a pets thing? Like, I haven't owned many pets in a while. Like, is this just what happens when you...
River speaks up. All I can tell you is that he couldn't even pull off the simplest cantrip until the cat came into his life. So if the cat's helping him work his magic, it might be worth tolerating it.
Very well. I've tolerated it this far. I'm just curious. I'm curious to understand the one-sided conversations that I hear. But
it's for the best. If Bruce's voice were to enter your mind, it would collapse like 1,000 suns swirling together into a giant black hole. Your thoughts would